Now what?
Oh boy, a new Guts and Blackpowder update. Hopefully it doesn't drop while I'm on a lovely vacation to the Vendée in France, and yeah, so I know I'm a bit late to the party, but I want you to know I started writing the script of this video while I was on vacation on the day the update dropped. And let me tell you, the update is so peak. The new officer items, the cuirassier armor, and of course the awfully named Cuirassier are amazing additions to an already amazing game. Perhaps I will cover gameplay changes and everything else new in another video. You aren't here for that, you're here for lore. As always, my Discord server is in the comments, as well as sources used for this video. St. Petersburg is the newest map in the game, and it's stacked with lore. Not only the story behind the map itself, but also the large amount of newspapers and notes there are in the map. Let's start with the story of the map first, shall we? The map takes place in 1814. This is interesting, because the most recent maps we've gotten, in updates as of late, have been either dead last in the timeline or the very first. It is 1813, and the Blight is going on a killing spree. It seems to be unstoppable, and every country participating in the Napoleonic Wars quickly makes peace with their enemies. Except for Russia. Russian army command is actually much like the Prussian one. They want to pursue Napoleon no matter the cost. They ignore the zombie threat and call it a quote-unquote small disease out of Moscow. We move to October 1813, and Russian soldiers positioned at St. Petersburg become increasingly more scared and concerned because of two things occurring. One, zombies appear near the gates of St. Petersburg, and two, Russian forces are genuinely getting overrun. For several months, the Russian army is able to keep the city safe from zombies.
A few moments later.
Nope. The zombie apocalypse can no longer be ignored. Action must be taken by the Russian forces, decides Prince Michael Andreas Barclay de Tolly. He sets up a defense of the city. There are barricades set up, as well as garrisons provided with ammo. And on May 18th, there's a full-blown forced evacuation, occurring by all available means. And wouldn't you know it, the Blight reaches the city several days later. Us, the players, are one of the many garrisons defending the city. The Russian Army Mortar Detachment is also near us, just right outside the city. That brings us to an NPC called the Hobo. The Hobo is a very interesting NPC. He leaves on wave 9 after he succumbs to the infection and will return as a zombie. Ooh, scary. The Hobo wears armor under his coat and also has multiple medals that he probably stole. His original backstory was that he killed the survivors of Berezina and stole their wagon. The Hobo repeatedly goes back and forth to get us supplies, such as mortar fire and cannons. Very interesting. Definitely one of the best NPCs we've gotten as of late. And I'm happy to say, this defense is considered to be successful so far. At the time of writing the script, it is confirmed we successfully defend St. Petersburg for several hours, and signal to the rest of the Russian army that we have succeeded. But that's not all. There's multiple notes to be found in St. Petersburg, and as always, I'll read them for you. Note number 1. Evacuation notice. Citizens of St. Petersburg, find ample means to travel north and leave your residence with haste. The Prizaks near our city. However, with great support and your cooperation, we shall take it back with minimal losses. To those unable to traverse vast distance, services on the river are provided by barges. The Tsar cannot oversee all of such services, so be warned of their quality. And to those most desperate, the Petersburg fortress will provide refuge for few. Note number 2 is a soldier's note. October 15th, 1813. It's adamant that the Tsar reinforces the defenses of St. Petersburg. The Prizaks tremble closer day by day. Within weeks, they will reach the gates. Men must be recalled from the German front. The protection of the motherland has much more importance than the destruction of Napoleon. It is utterly idiotic. We have a majority of our forces fighting battles while my men are defending the motherland from invaders within. We will capitulate between months if we cannot reinforce my men. Our commanders see this still as a small disease sprung from the ashes of Moscow. I must be adamant, it has grown exponentially in these last months. Now an army is raised in Russia, and I am in command of Cossacks and Guardsmen. We can only lead the Prizaks away like sheep. Note number 3, defense plan. Plan for the defense of St. Petersburg. Our position brings hopelessness, but I assure you we can provide the solution. Positioning garrisons of men entrenched over defendable positions. Shot, shell, and as much steel as possible is provided to these men. Full rations to be provided to them. Morale and signals to be provided by massive flags. Citizens of St. Petersburg and those surrounding it will be evacuated by force. Coordination with fishing vessels and larger bulks in the harbor to be made to accommodate these evacuations. Once we can vacate the city, stragglers will only remain. The forces of the undead will siege the city. However, our men can inflict tenfold the damage they can. Their intelligence is lackluster. It is unknown if they even possess the capability to lay any siege tactics. Once they're in the city, our men will simply rain fire upon them. With great hope, we'll eradicate them from Russia. Prince Michael Andreas Barclay of Italy, May 18th. Note number 4 is a field guide. Physicians, Field Guide to the Pestilence. By order of the medical expedition of the Tsar, the disease transmission is relatively unknown. Theories range from poor blood to miasma. However, certain symptoms have been recorded as following: high swift fever, skin irritation, hallucination, boils, poor vision, respiratory troubles. Treatment cannot be administered in a rehabilitating manner. Those whose condition progresses past numerous of these symptoms should be treated with swift restraints and possible consideration of their death to ease suffering. If no action is taken, the sufferers will turn to violence. Their defection will be swift, and they'll only work to destroy or spread their affliction to you. The execution of such must be made on this stage, preferably before. Note number 5 is a medical expedition. Writings of Major General of Medical Expedition Gesasim Zakasov. Anything pertaining to the disease. January 5th, 1812. I have to report the Janissaries have taken quite ill. The disease proves fatal. In fact, it almost burns faster through their rank than it can spend. The rumors are terrible boils, fever, and death. My colleagues speculate the pestilence. The ranks have taken quite the liking to it, comparing it to divine wrath smiting down the Ottoman hordes. However, if this was to spread to the center of the army, it will bring disaster. April 29th, 1812. The disease has ripped through my ranks. My hypothesis is miasma. Those who've taken ill have so far been regulated to the scraps of the common ranks. A total of 10 for now. It almost bites through men, faster than it can bring terror. Those unlucky 5 were left to perish in the road. I treated the final soul. He reported to me heavy fever, but visions of horror terror. He never perished, but I could no longer feel his pulse. His eyes moved for hours. His suffering was put to end through musket shot. May 10th, 1812. The disease has left behind the border. November 2nd, 1812. The findings are indescribable. Those afflicted no longer suffer. They seek to bring suffering. A violence afflicts them. Unfathomable. 2 of my men have been lost now. I write with the promise those victims now turn disease. They were executed by bayonet. Moscow is no place to venture citizens to. Now what's very interesting is that this map is a victory, at least from what we know thus far. Why is that interesting? Because it was previously stated that Russia had been dead silent for months, not contacting allies whatsoever. Also, this is the first real time we see symptoms of the blight be described by the medics. In any case, the devs absolutely delivered with this update as usual, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. Also, for those wondering, I am actively working on the Haisan Siege video, but it is an absolute juggernaut of a video, considering we actually did break the world record. But don't worry, I'm editing it each and every chance I get, but I probably won't be able to give it a May release date as stated earlier. Thanks for your understanding, and also thanks for watching.